OMI Lacombe Canada acknowledges the role the Catholic Church, and in particular the Oblates, played in the Indian residential schools. 3 of our members will be going to Rome as secondary delegates to the Vatican next week to meet with the Pope. Archbishop Emeritus Sylvain Lavoie, and Father Soucé Jesu, and Father François Paradis, all of whom have long been involved in Indigenous ministries. We ask you to keep them, the delegations, Pope Francis, and most particularly the Indigenous peoples most impacted by the residential school history, in your prayers over the next week and in the weeks and months to come.
Greetings, friends. In this brief video, I would like to share some thoughts on the journey of the delegation to Rome to visit with Pope Francis. The first thing I should mention is that I was invited to go by a close friend and former chief of Poundmaker First Nations and the Federation of Saskatchewan Indians, Blaine Favel. So I will be part of the unofficial secondary delegation. And I see my role there as a ministry of presence, just being present to the delegates, journeying with them through this experience. Psychologist Alice Miller, towards the end of her career, claimed that all people need to heal is a listening witness. Someone else mentioned that being listened to is so close to being loved that some people can't tell the difference. So I will try to be a listening witness. One Indigenous woman shared with me at Lexington one year that she was present at the Oblate Apology in 1991, but walked out of the church for a decade because no one took the time to hear her story. My hope is that Pope Francis can truly listen to the hurt of the delegates, soak up their pain, leaving them feeling heard by Pope Francis as an elder. That listening on his part will hopefully mean that an apology by him would then come from his heart and not just because it was demanded by the TRC. I would also see that apology building on the apology by the Canadian bishops and their commitment to raise funds for healing and reconciliation that truly completes and puts flesh to an apology. I also hope that this visit will help all of us deepen our awareness of our need to also listen to that hurt, to comprehend at a deep level in our hearts and minds the impact that taking children from their parents and families for over a century had on the Indigenous peoples, to really get it without being defensive or justifying. We need to take responsibility for our complicity with the government and a very flawed colonial system of education that was partly motivated by religious competition. A brother oblate, Father Mark Blum, likes to use the image of marriage to illustrate what really transpired. What God has put together, let no one take apart. Well, we felt free to take apart Indigenous families to undo what God had put together for far too long. And we have to admit our mistake, apologize, and do what we can to make amends. And my hope is also that those involved, those who make this journey, will experience some healing themselves and come away with some closure and resolution of their own personal journey to wholeness. Another interesting facet of the journey for me is that Georgina Lightning, producer of the movie Older Than America, who was a presenter at our recent Together We Heal session at the Star of the North, has asked me to video or interview some of the delegates, after their encounter with Pope Francis, that with their permission, she might use in the movie she is currently working on or producing about the residential schools. I guess that might make me a budding cinematographer. But most of all, I invite you to keep us all in your prayers as we take another step towards hopefully a renewed relationship between the Indigenous people and the Church, and healing for us all.